Now, a new lawsuit claims a big-name Palestinian-American businessman provided help to build infrastructure in Gaza that went on to aid Hamas, that went into committing the October 7th massacre. Around 200 American families of October 7th victims, including the families of Goldberg-Polin and Itai Khan, they filed a lawsuit against Bashar Masri and claim his development projects helped conceal tunnels used by the Hamas terror group. Masri's office called the lawsuit baseless and said he'll seek to dismiss these, quote, false allegations in court. For more, we're joined by one of the lawyers who helped file the lawsuit, Lee Wolofsky, partner and co-chair at Litigation Jenner and Block LLP, joining us from New York. Lee, thanks for being with us on the rundown this evening. I want to begin by asking the goal of this lawsuit. We're talking about 200 families here, families of victims as well. What are they trying to gain by going to court with this?
Thanks for having me. They are trying to use U.S. law, which is available to U.S. citizens or family members of U.S. citizens, which is what our 200 plaintiffs are, to hold accountable those who provided assistance to Hamas. Again, this is a remedy that's afforded by the U.S. courts. If you provide knowing and substantial assistance to a terrorist organization such as Hamas, in this case, the defendant's properties were allegedly riddled with Hamas infrastructure, tunnels, missile launching sites, etc. Under those circumstances, American citizens can go to court in the United States and seek both compensation and accountability.
And with these American citizens going to court in the United States, something interesting with this specific lawsuit, it's also thought to be the first case of a U.S. citizen themselves being accused of providing major support for these October 7th Hamas attacks. And so with that, does it seem more likely that this taking place in the United States, that there could be a positive outcome when this case does possibly go to court?
Yes, I mean, we certainly think so. As you point out, the defendant, Mr. Masri, is a U.S. citizen. He has for years worked in Washington. He has family there. He has a home there. He sits on the Dean's Council at Harvard University, the Kennedy School there. So he has very close ties to the United States, and he is a U.S. citizen. We allege that he used those indicia of legitimacy precisely to achieve the purpose here of providing knowing assistance to Hamas. He was not, one of our clients called him a terrorist in a suit. He's going to have to defend his conduct now in a court of law where he has substantial ties and where I'm sure he hopes to remain a citizen in good standing.
Now, Lee, this is not the first time that you helped represent some of these victims' families when filing a lawsuit for those involved in the Hamas October 7th massacres. You also represented some victim families who filed a lawsuit against Iran for funding Hamas and supporting the October 7th attack. I want to talk about the difference when representing these families, on the one hand going after an entire state, being Iran, and on the other going after one person who helped fund the Hamas terror group.
I'm sure. Well, the basic difference is that Iran does not show up in our courts to defend itself. We certainly expect Mr. Masri to do that. We look forward to seeing him in court.
With that being said, if this does go to court and if you do have a positive outcome that your members are hoping for, could this set a possible precedent? Should we expect other lawsuits like this to come forward if some allegations like this are made against U.S. citizens in the future?
Well, there aren't a lot of American citizens who are involved in doing business in Gaza. So as you point out, this is a somewhat unique lawsuit. This American citizen chose to develop property in Gaza, knowing full well that Hamas controlled Gaza, and actively participating. In one case, we cite in the complaint of signing an agreement with a Hamas minister to develop one of his properties, the Gaza Industrial Estate, which is located right by the Kearney Crossing. So we think that the involvement was very deep. We think that, it doesn't really matter if you're a dual national. In this case, Mr. Masri is a Palestinian-American, but he's an American, and he's accountable under our system, and he will be held into court in Washington, D.C. to face accountability for his actions.
And once that date does come, as far as the timeline of this and when some of these 200 American families of victims can actually hope to see some sort of a justice if this the courts do find that Masri was on the wrong side of this, what type of timeline are we talking about?
Well, unfortunately, our courts move slowly, so we're talking about probably years. But in this case, the evidence is, we believe, overwhelming, and we're confident that we're going to prevail.